What up, though? Hip hop news you can use. We got action, more action. Let's talk hip hop tonight. Come on in, let's get it. We're gonna talk about Ebro. Y'all done seen the tweet. It's going viral. I don't know what really made everybody believe, but it definitely done caught snowball effect, and all the real hip hop heads and the people that love the game, definitely taking this comment serious. For most who don't know who Ebro is, he definitely have a strong position and insight on music. For one, if I recall and remember correctly, he is the PD at Hot97s Radio, which is the program director. And I can look it up. I also recall that he has a position. I don't want to say this wrong. But I know it's either Spotify or iTunes in the hip hop department. Matter of fact, let me look it up because I don't want to misrepresent what he does, but I know he definitely has some insight. And we're gonna talk about the phone call that he got also. Let me look it up. What is Ebro in the morning position at iTunes record?
According to Wikipedia, Ebro in the Morning is an American radio show based in New York City, hosted by Ebro Darden, Peter Rosenberg, and Laura Stiles.
Well, he got a position. I don't want to be wrong. I'll look up in a minute. I feel kind of sloppy doing this over the air, but even though we live streaming, and we gonna get it right when we get it right. But I'll get to it in a second though, because he definitely got a position there. He's either iTunes or Spotify. One of them playlists. Let me get this shit right. Bear with me, y'all. We gotta have facts. We gotta have facts. So we want to talk. We want to talk. We gotta have facts, right? We gotta have facts. Apple Music. That's what it is. That's what it is. All right, let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's put some respect on Ebro's name. We ain't gonna front. He's the global head of hip hop and R&B at Apple Music. That's his position. The head of hip hop and R&B at Apple's Music. There we go. All right. Now that we got that out the way, let's talk about his recent comments. His recent post on Twitter about him seemingly getting a phone call, which was about record labels not being interested in hip hop as much anymore. So what he took to Twitter and said was this: I got a call saying it should be noted many major record labels have deprioritized signing rappers. The focus is now African music and Latin music. And then he goes on to say, now this is in his post on Twitter. Then he goes on to say, rappers better stop being boring and talking about the same shit over and over, chasing TikTok, success, and comment sections. So let's speak on it. Let's talk about it. Do you agree? All these rappers boring. I mean, hell, we've been talking about this shit really for the last couple of years, really. So it's looking like it really took for Ebro to come out and say something about it, to whereas it made more people want to jump on the topic. Because a lot of people been complaining about music for maybe the last about 10 years or so. So as Ebro warns rappers that the labels are looking for, well, not that they're looking for them, but the priority is about to be African music and also Latin music, which is a growing global thing. I mean, let's talk about it. It seems as though everybody's starting to think outside the box. And when I say think outside the box, it's like the sports. Let's start with sports. I mean, because it's like sooner or later, the NBA is going to do what? Maybe have other teams outside the American teams. Just maybe. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. Even though it's other leagues and people play overseas, and there's players in other countries, some do already come over here to be stars and superstars. And they come over here and conquer the game, and not conquer the game. We got the game conquered. But it is superstars. So you start thinking outside of just the States. And the same thing is going to happen with music. I mean, let's just face it. Over the last couple of years, what's been flourishing? Well, I definitely know here, okay, I'm from Detroit. The whole Afro beats thing has taken off. It's gotten big. Actually, right now, today, this is crazy. I'm even doing this video right now. Right now in Detroit, it's a festival going on right now in downtown Detroit about about I don't know what a festival actually is downtown Detroit, but I know here in Detroit right now it's a festival going on. They calling it Afro. It's the Afro music at the Afro Festival. It's called the Afro Festival, but it's based upon just the whole culture of it. What it is right now, they're pushing the culture. Let's just talk about it. They're pushing the culture right now of just different music that's out. I mean, because a lot of people are tired of hip hop and shake your ass and spin the block and who got the most money. I want to sleep with your girl. I mean, the story is redundant. The story is over and over. We hear the same thing. It's only so many ways you can fancy it up about talking about taking somebody girl. J-Town, what up? Yep, my man down there. My mom down there, I'm sorry. Your mom down there at that festival. Yep, it's a festival going on right now. J-Town, you know what's going on. Right now, it's a festival going on. It's like Afro beats or something. Right now here in Detroit. That whole scene is getting big. So somebody do got their eyeballs on it that is next up. And I get it. But the question is, the real question is, this is what I want to dive into. Because first off, look how independent hip hop is. So it's like, do we really care that the labels is not looking to sign rappers right now? That's what I was thinking about. I'm looking like, who really cares about? I mean, don't get me wrong, we understand the distribution and all that, but who really cares about record labels signing rappers right now anyway? I mean, we know that it happened, and we know that we can get a push and a little bit of if you will, if you get signed to a label. But most of the rappers, it kind of goes back to the conversation how people was having a couple of months ago, talking about how it's not a number one rapper on Billboard and all those different charts right now for a rapper. You know, they were talking about all this year that it haven't been a rapper to hit number one on the charts. That's because most of them are independent, and that's because most don't care about the whole. I mean, of course they care about numbers, of course, but the bragging rights, it don't come from Billboard and all that stuff when you talking about spinning the block, or if you just moving and grooving and you got a You got an Instagram page full of 500,000 people. You're not looking at sought after being on Billboard. I mean, they're not spending that same money that they used to spend to make those lists. They're not investing money like that. So that's why it's not rappers hitting those top 10 charts and all that. It's not that the music is super bad or that it have to be super good to make the list. That's not the point. The point is all of that stuff was always marketing dollars. That was hand in hand money being spent to get on those charts. Labels are not spending all of that money. I mean, some are. I mean, the big A-list artists who want the whole shine and they got the whole team and machine behind them. They spending the money to be on Billboard, to be on the top 10 this or the number 5 that. But the average rapper who talking about getting money, or which most of them are, or the average rapper who just trying to get the notoriety, most of them are just relying on their Instagram just for all of the marketing. Well, not all the marketing. Well, I say at least about 70% of the marketing. They going about it that way. That's how you cut corners. That's how you saving the money. Let me see what my man Jay talking about, J-Town. And most of them are overseas artists, not in the USA. Yeah, of course, all them Latin, Afro beats, all of that's what Ebro was talking about. That's why he got that's why he got the insight. He did share the insight. That's why he say that the phone call that he got pretty much allegedly from a source that has the intel to be able to say it. He got to believe in it. That's why he repeated it. I mean, a guy like Ebro, especially like I say, having a position that he got and having that type of insight and willing to I ain't gonna say put his Twitter on the line, but you want to be a reputable source. And for him to say something like that on his Twitter page, it has to be something that he believes in, and it's something that maybe is coming down the whole ordeal of the pipes with the whole music scene. I mean, we need it anyway. We need this shit shook up a little bit. We need the artists to get back to writing their rhymes, having concepts, having something to say, all of that. We need to get back to that. We need some substance in the music. But my thing also is, what do they be talking about in the Afro beats? What do they be talking about in Latin music that's going to be so entertaining? I mean, y'all can pardon me, but most of it be sounding the same also. When I say sounding the same, most of the beats be having that same that same little kick to it, that same little move and groove. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can understand if I was a real student of Latin music and Afro beats. Of course, you got to be a difference somewhere in there. But on the surface, a lot of that shit be sounding the same too. And then, not to mention, we barely be understanding what they saying. A lot of us just love the sexiness of it. We just like what's the word I want to use? The sensationalism of that shit. It's like Latin music is just exotic. You think of islands. You think of long, pretty hair, fair skin, and you think of a woman dancing, a little Latina just dancing sultry or something. When you hear Latin music, we don't really be listening to that shit. We just checking in and just maybe on a trip somewhere in Miami or Hawaii or wherever, just somewhere in another island or somewhere on vacation. And we just hear the music and we just admiring the culture and just taking it in. we really don't go with the flow and really be dissecting the lyrics like that. Don't get me wrong, it's something new and it can be refreshing. But even if the labels do start focusing on Latin music and Afro beats, I don't think it's going to take away from the bullshit music that we hear, because most of them are doing it independent anyway. So what's going to be the difference? What's going to make or break it? This is not going to be no threat. This is not going to be no threat to Joe Blow, who's in his basement, who can make an album right now and upload it to Spotify. This is not going to, the distro kid or whatever, TuneCore or whatever. This is not going to affect or hurt them. I mean, we've been on independence for a while, like we've been doing this. So this should not be a threat. This should not be a scare to. Now this gonna be a scare to the people who just in it for the quick thrill. Yeah, I mean, if this really happened, I mean, for the people who just want to jump in the game and get a quick buck, now this might be a threat to them. But them the people we don't need anyway. So shit, we ain't worried about them. So we need to get them out the way anyway. So let's make the threat. Yeah, Ebro, say that shit again. Let's make the threat. Labels is focusing on Latin music and Afro beats. That's why I say that's what they call it here. They call it Afro beats, African music. Now, when we say African music, that can go a whole bunch of different ways. That don't necessarily mean hip hop. That can be R&B or whatever. But here's how it goes. He took to Twitter. This is Thursday morning, August 17th. He shares the details about how he allegedly received with some insider information. Like I said again, he said it should be noted. So he's saying he got a call saying it should be noted that labels have deprioritized signing rappers. So that's an easy go though. This is an easy fix. But the thing is, people stop being boring. Hip hop been like this for a minute. It's been at a standstill. I mean, there's no way around that. Hip hop been at a standstill, but who's gonna be the ones to shake up the game? Information like this, do that make people rap different, move different? I don't know. But at the same time, you're not missing out on much. What is we missing out on by a couple rappers being pushed out the way on a large scale? When I say large scale, I mean the Hot 97 scale. That's like what one person said in the comment. So like is Hot 97 gonna change the title of they brand? Is it gonna still be a hip hop station? I don't see them no time soon changing it, calling it a Latin station, calling Hot 97 the station for Latin hip hop. That's not gonna happen. Well, if it do happen, it's not gonna happen no time soon. I can't see it. But let's get on a positive note. Like, how can we change the hip hop? When I say change the hip hop, or how can it stop being boring? Because y'all don't want nothing new. And when I say y'all don't want nothing new, y'all don't. It really even ain't nothing new. To be honest with you, it ain't shit new. But it's like y'all don't want to take y'all chance on new artists. Who's going to take that risk? Or a new style? Who's gonna take that risk on a new style? Ain't nobody doing that. Everybody playing it safe. We've been doing it for the last about 15 years or so, just playing it safe. And that's why most of the young kids who rap, they feel they have to talk about the same shit every time to make it. Because they feel that's the only way to be heard. And then the labels, the risk they taking is easy. It barely is a risk. Then the people at the corporation, they don't want to lose their jobs. So they ain't about to just come up with a new artist or try to just switch up the whole game and say, okay, well, here's the new style. Even though it can start off with things like this, by comments like this, by people that's in a powerful position like Ebro. That's why this comment is being talked about a lot, this tweet. All the insiders and people who love the culture of music. That's why this tweet that Ebro did is bringing awareness. Because some people need to hear it. And it can put a pulse on the game, but it ain't gonna change it too much. Because the more things change, the more they stay the same. It's still gonna be another rapper coming down the pipes, talking about fucking somebody else, girl. Drugs, sex, I got more money than you. Because it's an audience. Because it's an audience and lane and people want to hear it. And you got to remember also, the streets is what push rap music. I mean, you can say what you want, but the streets make the culture. And I don't think too many people on the streets is about to be running around just blasting no Latin music or blasting no African music. It's not about to happen. That's not about to happen no time soon. I'm from Detroit. It's not about to be nobody. Now, you might catch a couple of people in your rural areas or maybe by some college campuses who's trying to just explore and be turned on or something. And if it do happen to whereas people in the ghetto start riding around or hanging out listening to Latin music and African music, it's going to take for a dope-ass rapper, I don't know who it's going to be, or a dope-ass singer for that shit just to go off like that. And for it to be somebody just that sweet to just, you know, I mean, I can't see it. If it do happen, they're going to have to be a dope-ass artist. I mean, don't get me wrong, you got some people who probably is brewing and who probably is going to make it to the States. And people going to hear about them. And they're going to make some noise and some action on the level. But as far as that shit just coming to the hood and the streets day to day, while people out doing what they doing in summertime in the middle of Detroit or summertime in the middle of Brooklyn, summertime in the middle of Chicago is playing Latin music, I can't see it. J-Town say, it's all ringtone music. Like, how does Ice Spice within 6 months all reach 1 billion streams? That's true. That ringtone music was something else when that came through. That was crazy. But yeah, that makes sense. Like, how does Ice Spice within 6 months reach 1 billion streams? Some of that shit, I think some of them numbers just be rigged. I mean, I can't confirm it, but when I see them numbers ridiculous like that, it's believable, but it don't seem authentic. Now, I can understand curiosity and people going to check out some songs and all that. But when they hit numbers like that, I think that's that advertising dollar that's putting behind it to make it. Like the same way you put in the comments that number 1 billion streams, I think that goes with the idea that record labels want that to be repeated. And they want the number to get so big and so high to where people feel that they have to be involved with that number. Like they have to be one of the people of the billion that has synced it. You got to understand, we live in a world where people don't want to be left out. The fear of missing out. That's like when you go on YouTube right now, or you go on Spotify, or you go on whatever streaming service. I mean, whatever it is, period. If it have more numbers, which can be real or fake, but if you see more numbers on it, you're more quicker to click on it because you want to be one of the people that then saw it. You want to be you don't want to be left out. You feel that if you came across it, and if you see that over billions then checked it out, how I mean, how many people really want to pass up on that opportunity to be a part of that? So that's when they click on it. Like it might say a billion, but maybe only about 3 million of it is actually real. I mean, because we know about juking numbers. I mean, it happens all the time. It's an actual thing that can happen. So you can juke the numbers, and when people look at it, they wanna be involved in it. You understand? Because it goes the other way also. That's like this channel here. If people scrolling and see I'm live, and they see it's only 3 people in the chat, more than likely they mind can quickly probably just think like, okay, it's probably not even worth listening to. It's probably not even worth checking out because it ain't got that many people on it. You understand? But if I was juking numbers and going into spending money for ads and advertising after the video over, and you see 50K, but not knowing that only 300 is actually really real, it still could probably boost you up to another 500, just by 200 other people just thinking out of curiosity just to check it out. So it can always be juked because the numbers is a conversation piece. And that makes you think also, like, how big is Latin music in such and such country? I mean, I can't think of the actual origin of a country that I want to name and say, but okay, well, let's go with African music. How big is African music in Africa? I mean, you know, how big is it over there? How much money is being made? And what labels are we talking about? See, all this stuff need to go into question when we repeat what Ebro said. It sounds good and look good on paper. I mean, it makes you think about a couple of things, what Ebro said. But it's like, okay, how should we take this? I mean, what standpoint should we take on this? And again, like I say, in Africa, the labels over there, how is they producing and selling? Is they still going to the stores buying albums? Is they streaming? I mean, who's the hottest African music artists? Why we can't just have them just be marketed over here? I mean, is Drake popular in Africa? I mean, I just have to, you know, just something to think about. Shit, half the time I have to remember that Drake ain't even from America. I mean, you know, Toronto, Canada, that's right next to us. But he's an international artist. I won't be surprised actually if Drake bigger it over here than he is in Toronto. I mean, he might be the hometown hero for Toronto, but Drake probably is bigger over here than he is in Toronto. I mean that he is in Canada. I ain't gonna say just Toronto. I mean it's Canada. I mean, because Toronto is the city. Canada's the country. But Drake is so big in America. But what Ebro said, it's a lot to take in, and there's ways to look at it, and there's levels to it, but anything else. But we'll see how it hold up and who will it affect. We'll see. Matter of fact, before I chime out of here, I'm gonna do this poem and piece that I wrote about music, about hip hop. The piece is called "Let's Talk Music." Listen to me. See, this how that shit changed, but it stays the same. Listen to this poem and piece I wrote. Let's talk music. Listen to me. I said it's not that my hip hop was better than yours, but hey, shit, my hip hop was better than yours. Now see, I ain't trying to separate. Cause see, for every crank that Soldier Boy, there was the Humpty dance. Whipping that nay-nay, hitting the quan to a dude on the corner in some tight-ass Adidas pants and a b-boy stance. But see, we was hip-hop. You see, Salt and Pepper, MC Light, and Queen Latifah all can hold their own. But see, y'all wanted Nicki to stand alone or by another female get knocked off the throne. Bone gave us harmony. Now what a coincidence. Cause see, now that sound like today's R&B. You see no more love ballads. Just a bunch of rap singing dudes talking about how high they want to get you, how they want to get the pussy. Listen to me. Snoop had us on gin and juice. The Chronic was finally introduced. Cash Money took over for the 99 and 2000, but her mama was already popping that coochie for Luke. Hell, it's the truth. You see, it ain't nothing new to discover. All the way down to the fashion. To the artist never asking about these demonic ass symbols and borderline gay ass album covers. At the 70s started. Question. Listen to me. Why Jeffrey Osborne and LTD on them album covers ain't have on no shirts? Isley Brothers, Isaac Hayes, Al Green, all cleaned up like pimps. Go in your mama basement, write the dust off them records, nigga, do your research. Cause see, the first to make me think or raise my fist was Chuck and Chris. Red, black, and green before we saw delicious ass Flavor Flav was trying to tell us what time it is. Cause see, we used to rewind shit. See, I was one of them kids in the mirror with the broom. The voice of the streets. Hip hop used to keep us all in tune. See, I'm in love with the culture. But I ain't one of them old heads that's stuck in the past. But lately, y'all been on some bullshit. Mainstream hip hop and kiss my ass. Man, these ninjas trash. Only the real gon' last. Rap talk. And that's that poem of peace. I get with y'all in a minute though. Y'all can take it in. Take in the notion. Respect to what Ebro said. Like I said, it can be taken in multiple ways and facets if you agree or disagree. or if you're threatened by it or not, or understand where you're going with it or what made him say it. That's how I feel, but it sounds like some intel to me. But how can it really affect people in this whole independent just world and genre, this whole era? It's like the wrong era to say that. It's not really even no threat. It's not no problem, because hip hop was going to be an evolving game anyway. I mean, the culture is the culture. I mean, we see what the 50 years of hip hop just did and what it exposed. And it already exposed the hand that we don't touch to everybody. So when you do equate Latin music into it, or African music, it's like, who you going to call? Like, who's the ones? Like, who's going to be the movers and shakers of this? Obviously, it ain't going to be nobody from America, because the culture swing. I mean, you just saw everybody try. You even had Nori before the Drink Traps. He tried reggaeton. You had reggaeton. You had all these. I mean, everybody always experimented with it, or with different levels of just music, period. I mean, it just never stopped growing. That's the whole facet about music and hip hop, period. People can take it wherever they want to take it. But as far as the labels, who cares? Who cares? Only the people that's living back and ain't got no hustle in them is the ones that's shaking in their boots about record labels picking and choosing if they're gonna sign people or if they're gonna them the only ones who worried about something like that. People who got their real hustle and their real grind, they ain't worried about no record labels signing, because they can always up whoever they want to up anyway. If they wanted to change the direction of hip hop, American hip hop, they can do that too. So that don't even matter. So what they saying is non and void, actually, because when they want you to, if they want you to pop, they want you to pop. If they want you to blow up, they'll make you blow up. They'll sort out after you. Whether you're talking positive, negative, or whatever it is, whatnot. Once you own, you own. They'll put you on if they want to put you on. That's all I'm saying. You can see it. Look how they're recycling artists every other couple of months right now, like Ice Spice. I don't know no Ice Spice song. I just keep hearing the name. Sexy Red, Sultry Red, all these people names come across your radar. If she walked right past me right now, I mean, it's not no disrespect, but I would not know who she was right now if she walked past me. I wouldn't know who these people are. I mean, it's actually like that. This is just the dark truth. Like I say, this is the dark truth about hip hop and just how it can move. The whole hidden hand and the energy of it is controlled. If they wanted positivity out there, they'll push positivity. If they wanted more people to talk about certain things, and if they wanted us all to don't worry, be happy, they'll take us back to that. With that Bobby McFadden, that was his name. If they wanted us to get back on that tip, that, Arrested Development even got Grammys and all that stuff. I remember that. And this thing though, they was awarding all them different artists and giving all them artists Grammys, and Macklemore, all these people with these so-called watered down substance songs, they was giving all these people accolades by playing it safe. But what did we want in the streets though? We wanted hardcore, shoot 'em up, bang bang. That's what we was listening to. That's what the streets wanted. We was off Master P and Body and Cash Money taking over for the 99 2000. We was shaking our asses, but at the same time, we was looking at, man, they got Macklemore winning the rap album of the year and stuff like that. And like I say, if they want you to pop, they'll let you pop. And by pop, I'm saying if they want you to be a big artist, they'll let you come through the cracks and the pipes of the whole industry, if that's what they're looking for. But by Ebro saying people should stop being born, I mean, who is it born to? I mean, we the old heads. Ebro, he in my age bracket. He 40, I know. He gotta be 40. Probably 40 plus. I mean, it's always been a kid's game, a young man's game. But even though hip hop is for anybody and they can keep going, but we know where it's at, and we know who control it. The youngest in the streets control it. The label just control the money, even though the money is a factor. But who's the consumer? Now, that's what we need to look at. Look at the consumer and who's the one spending the money. I mean, the average person that just study business and the demographics, and everybody know that whole demographic of females from what is it, like 25 to 35, that's who's spending money. That's where the money going. That's why you have the Drakes being number one. Everybody thinking it's something else, like it's some big magic trick why Drake is one of the biggest artists, which he's not from America also. But look what his demographic is. His demographic is females. He raps towards the women. Them the ones that spend the money. Pac gave away that secret how many years ago? Pac been told y'all that. You make songs for the women, the men gonna follow. That's how that go. So that's why someone like Drake is the biggest. Who's spending the money? Who's the consumer? Even when bootleg and all that shit was at a all-time high, it still was money being generated by the artists who made songs for women. R&B didn't suffer like that. I mean, R&B was changing because it was turning to hip-hop with the hip-hop beats and all that. But as far as the singing and the crooning, they didn't suffer like some of the hip-hop artists did because they still had a fan base. Always. Then, of course, doing shows, that's how you cover up and make up all that money anyway. People thought they was getting over by bootleg and albums and all that shit. That shit didn't mean nothing. That shit didn't mean nothing. Because if you like the artist, you was going to go to the show. So even though you ain't buy that $15 or $18 CD, you call yourself being slick by buying a $3 bootleg, going online while you're downloading it. You call yourself being slick. But if you end up liking that artist, it still was a percentage of people that was still gonna go into the show. And when you go to the show, shit, you spend about $50 to go see them. So you might think you got over it, but you really didn't pay. You done bought the CD about 5 times once you didn't go to the show. You spent $100 for a seat to go to the concert. So that's why some artists didn't even care about the bootlegging and all that. Hell, some of them was even bootlegging their own music before somebody else did. They got to that point, they'll just bootleg the album themselves. I mean, a lot of artists ain't gonna say that, but they was knowing some of the insiders. Then that's when mixtapes and all that stuff came in also. So if you got bootlegging going on, they thought to themselves like, shit, let's just start making mixtapes. Let's just give away some songs for free because it's gonna hit the streets anyway. Let's just give them this teaser right here. So when all that started happening, it was nothing else you can do about it. Because once it's out of control and out your hands, there's nothing you can do about it. So what Ebro is saying is just facts. To an extent, it's nothing you can do about it. This is bound to happen. And it's not because the people are talking about what they're talking about. It's just expansion. Things just grow. That's why all them New York rappers was just mad for so many years that, like, we saw this happen even when hip hop went down south. A lot of New York rappers and East Coast rappers, you know, when the shine wasn't on them no more, they wondered like, okay, damn, everybody body now. It's 1997, everybody, you know, wearing fatigue and the music's slowing up and these cars and body. You bout it? We bout it. So, I mean, the evolution of hip hop is forever. But when we talk about Latin music, though, now keep in mind, he said just music, period. He didn't say hip hop. And I don't even know how we got into this whole ordeal of most of us hip hop people talking about it. I mean, it's R&B people talking about this, like we talking about it. I mean, we the culture, we hip hop. We carrying on the conversation, of course, but do we really? What's making us be the ones that's factoring and caring about what Ebro said as far as the Latin music? He didn't say Latin rap about to take over. He didn't say African rap about to take over. He just saying that the focus just ain't on rappers to be sad no more. And again, like I said earlier, shit, we got independence. I can make an album right now and upload it with TuneCore or Distro Kid or whoever. But of course, like I say, if you lazy and if you need the machine behind you, and it works for some, you know, having that machine. But the artist that's established, I don't think they too much worried about this. And if you're an artist out there on the come up, you shouldn't be worried about this either. Now I know I done said a couple things in this video, and it's kind of like side by side. I'll just call myself laying out the pros and cons of it, or the factors of it, or how it could affect different people. Now the people with them jobs, them the ones who should be worried about it. The ones who ain't artists, the ones who work at them labels, them the ones that's probably gonna be out in the dry. Because shit, how they gonna gather talent and all that? They just gonna go to the internet. Some of them office roles gonna get cleared out. Shit, they ain't gonna be needed no more. Even though the A&R and all that shit basically is non and void, don't exist no more. But it's gonna be a lot of people that are probably out of a job because when people get to looking overseas and all that, they're going straight to the internet to look for the next big talent. That's how that goes. But even though a lot of these positions and these labels and stuff being fickle anyway, you don't know who doing what and who receiving the money and whose actual job is what, as far as how a label's being ran. The main thing is the producer, the artist, the marketing, and hell shit, your Instagram and all that be doing most of your marketing. So you can always cut out the middleman. So keep that in mind when you're doing all this shit. You can get rid of the middleman. And actually the label, that's who the middleman is. If you smart and you a hustler, you can see that. So y'all can take it in for what it's worth. I appreciate y'all. Share the video to make the channel grow. I get with y'all on the back end. Just wanted to come in and talk about Ebro comments about how he say hip hop is boring. And he's giving a warning. He said he got a phone call. That rappers better stop chasing TikTok success in the comment section. Damn, them shots fired. Shots fired. How is they gonna do that? How is they gonna ignore TikTok? How they gonna stop chasing TikTok success? But we'll see though. I don't think it's gonna happen because they still looking for it. They still looking for the next thing. Cause you gotta remember, all it takes is one hit. All it takes is one hit. After all this shit being said, after all your hard work, after all these different things that artists is doing, these stunts, these dances, whatever they coming up with, and putting online, all the sacrifices that they taking, and the 100 songs they making, thousands they spending. After all that, all it takes is for one song. All it takes is for one song to eat. That's why people is in it how they in it and doing what they doing, because they know all it takes is that one song. Like I say, Ice Spice. I do not. All I know is the name. I'm hearing Ice Spice, Ice Spice. I do not know. Is she the Booty Hole Brown song? The Butthole Brown song? Or whoever that is. Sexy Red, Sultry Red. I don't know. Glorilla. I wouldn't know a Glorilla song. I don't even know how she looked. Like I said, she walked past it. Like I said, this is not no disrespect to these ladies, but I just don't know them. And actually, I'm 40 years old, 40 plus. I should know them. I have no problem saying I don't know these people, and I get that. Like I said, this is not disrespect, but I have no problem saying I do not know who Glorilla is. I do not know Glorilla's song. I do not know City Girls. Is the City Girls still popping? Is they still going on? I heard the names before, but I don't know. I don't know them. I have no problem saying I don't know them, but I do know that the game is controlled and the game is rigged and whatever they want to be large. That's another thing too we can throw in the equation. Okay, let's just say for instance that this shit do go down like this. And okay, right now, female rappers, young female rappers is basically the large. I mean, let's just face it, they like on top of the game right now, right? Is it safe to say that females is the one that's on top of the game right now? So if this was to happen, like right around this time, will it be safe to say that hip hop, when the females was doing their songs, talking about the sultriness and the sexy song, the Cardi B, the Sexy Red, the Ice Spices, is it safe? So then, will it be safe to say that that's when hip hop made a turn for the Latin music and African music? I mean, if it was to happen within the next couple of months or a year or so, will it be safe to say that those female songs, I mean, I don't want to make this a sex thing, but I don't want to make this a sexism or sex type of thing, but I'm putting it out there because most people out there know that females are running the game. The young females on a large scale, they the ones that's pretty much is running the rap game. When I say running it, I mean, they're the ones that's the most popular right now within the last year or so. I mean, besides a Drake or a Kendrick or those couple of people, I'm talking about the new younger artists. It's female rappers. They liberated right now, and they popping. So if we were to make this transition, can we say that it happened on their watch? Can we say that that was the downfall? Can we throw that in there? Can we be petty and do that? Can we throw that in there and be like, okay, man, hip hop got fucked up after all the females started talking about their booty hole and dressing and stopped caring so much about, and then that's when the Latin music and the African music came in. That's just, I'm just saying, if that happened within the next year or so, that we jump into that, can we say that's where hip hop left off at? Is we really living in the downfall of hip hop right now? I mean, is the shit born like Ebro say? I mean, it do got a vibration to where it's like it's not that it's super violent, but it's like, how can I call it? Well, it is violent. Hip hop always been violent. Let's not act like it never been violent. Spice One was violent. Gangsta Net was violent. NWA was violent. Ice-T was violent. Hip hop, Ghetto Boys, always been violent. Even though it's political stuff here and there in it, but hip hop always been violent and always been aggressive. So let's not go there, you know. But when Ebro say it's boring, cause he talking about cause everybody's high, they on lean, they moving slower, subject matter. I mean, who is it boring to? Cause the parties ain't stopped. They still shaking their ass and dancing to this shit. We was dancing the Poison Clan, Shake What Your Mama Gave You. To our parents, this shit was boring. That's like with the poem I did. I said Cash Money took over for the 99 and 2000, but her mama was already popping that coochie for Luke. All this shit is the same, year after year. It's just about how desensitized you get to this shit, how numb you get to it. I mean, look, okay, hip hop just turned 50. Think of how much hip hop we done consumed already. It's time for some new shit. It's time for some new experiences. It's time for the rhythm to change. It's been time for somebody else to grab the pulse of hip hop because it's gonna never stop growing. But it's enough out there for everybody though. But it's just so much greed in it with the labels. They want to control it. They want to push who they push at the times when they do it. But it's always going to keep changing. It's like I say, when it went south, people was mad. Shit, hell, when it went west, people was mad. Gangster rap. You got gangster rap. When gangster rap came in, people thought that was maybe not going to last. The Jerry Curls, the Gang Bang, and the Lokes. The movies even came out to coincide with it. You had Colors, even though Colors wasn't just super hip hop, but it was based off, you know, the C's and B's. And then you had Ice-T, you know, with the theme song. You had Boys in the Hood, all that. So hip hop is always evolving and changing. But like I say, keep in mind what Ebro said, and he didn't say Latin hip hop music. He didn't say Latin rapper. He just said Latin music. That's next up. African music is next up. He didn't say African hip hop is next up. African rappers is next up. I mean, it's going to be a mixture. I mean, labels, I ain't gonna say they been stopped signing rappers, but they see our independence. They see that we go straight to a distro and just upload, and that's why it's so much music out. But we cutting out the middleman, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. We're gonna see how it all plays out though, man. I'm gonna let y'all go. You know your man Rap Talk Motivation. I can speak on rap all night. But we here though. Y'all tell me how y'all feel in the comments. Share the video to make the channel grow. I appreciate y'all. I'm on the chime out. Rap Talk.